Hey guys, what's happening? This is Noah. I'm in the garden today, and we're going to look at replacing some garden posts. And that's what's going on at Noah's house. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garden. Like, subscribe, share the channel around, share the video around. Where's the camera? There's the camera. I'm up here in the garden. It is pretty chilly this evening. We warmed up the other day to 60. That was up from -9. And now we're back down, I think, in the 20s, and it feels even colder. But I'm gonna flip you around, and we're gonna talk a little bit about something that needs to be repaired for the upcoming season. Okay guys, look at the old 100-gallon beds. Solid as a rock, by the way. So what we're up here looking at are these. And these were branches I put in, and it was pretty cool. And I have my pollinator hub things, bee houses. And I did put 2 of these in. Oops, wrong way. What did I do? Okay. I have one here, and then I have another one down there, and I also put my water gauge on that one. But if you look, I got this one tied off to the post because, can you see? Ooh. It's just all rotted out. They've been in there for a couple years. I don't even know how far down it is. But, oh, jeez. It's falling out. But I don't want these to fall over. I don't want something to happen to the pollinator huts. Because if you do see, there is, you know, some mud in there, which means that bees laid some eggs. Those pollinators hanging out in there. So I have an idea. Okay, the idea. I run across some pretty cool pallets at work. And I have an idea for replacing these a little bit more permanent. A couple hooks, you know, for some hoses and I don't know. I have an idea, but let's go down to the shop. 1, because it's freezing out here, and 2, well, it's just freezing out here. Let's go down. All right, guys, here we are down in the shop. Now, like I was showing up there, they were like branches that I put in the ground, and it looked really cool and natural and everything, but they're rotted and they're falling over, and you've seen the one is tied up to the one fence post, because I have my native bee keeper hive things up there, and there's a lot of mud covering the front, which means there's bees that lay eggs in there and pollinators and everything. But like I was saying, pallets. I was at work, and the guy who does all the receiving and stuff knows I like pallets to build stuff, as you guys know. He needs to check these pallets out. So one pallet is, I wrote it down. It was 5 foot 4 inches long, and I was like, oh, it's a nice pallet. And then as I looked, it wasn't built on just nasty 2x4s or what have you. It was built on 3 4x4s, 3.5 by 3.5. But I'm not sure what came in on this thing, a big piece of equipment, I don't know, a snowmobile maybe. But 3 4x4s. And here, I'll give you a little, show you what I got out of, it was actually 2 pallets. I picked up a second one because it had some nice 2x4s. But I'll show you some of the wood that I got if people are wondering. I mean, if you see pallets and you can get them for free, don't go stealing anything. I'll show you some of the stuff that I got. So let me spin you around and show you that. Okay guys, here is one of the 4x4s. Here's some of the 2x4s. Here's the other 4x4s that I got. Look at that. And there's 2x4s that were on there. Now these are all really good 2x4s. I mean, the ends are split or whatever. But for doing gardening projects and stuff, this is great. And you always want to look for that right there. HT, that means heat treated. No chemicals were involved in making this wood good. Let me spin you back around. Okay, so check out that wood, and it was free. Now, it did take some effort to get it apart. You can get a sawzall, however you want to say it. You can kind of cut the nail heads if you can get behind the thinner boards. And this had a couple thinner boards on it, and I do that with the thinner board pallets because I'm not too worried about. But I really was trying to keep the nails out, and I didn't want to mess this up, which I didn't do a good job on the first 4x4. But I got basically like a pry bar type thing and a no bounce sledgehammer, and I put on a podcast, and I just went at it. You know, wear gloves, safety first, all that stuff, kids. But I'm going to show you what I'm planning on doing here. And I don't know. I'm going to get this stuff kind of put together now, which is February 2nd, 3rd, something like that. But the thing is, I won't be able to dig because I want to put these 18 inches into the ground so they're good and solid. And I'm also going to get my big torch that I hook to a big propane bottle that I use for weed control in my rocky driveway. But that bottom 18 inches, 2 feet, I am going to actually burn it. And that is an old practice from people way, way long time ago, because when you burn it and you leave that char on it, I'm not going to burn it, I'm going to char it. I'm going to try to get, you know, get the wood burnt in 1/4 of an inch or so, I think is what it is, not 100% on that. But that stops it from rotting if it gets wet. And this was old settlers, and people used to do this when they're building their frontier cabins and all that stuff. But I'm going to mark everything. But with the 3 that I have, if I go 18 inches into the ground, that thing is going to be, post is going to be sticking up by my belly. And my belly would knock it over. But, so what I'm going to do, since I have 3, I'm going to cut one right in half. And then I am going to basically make a big lap joint, and I'm going to put, so it's going to be 1.5. And I figured it out, if I put it in 18 inches into the ground, it's going to be about as tall as me, maybe a here, maybe to my glasses, give or take. I'm just estimating. And that's going to be tall enough for me to put a hook on the side, because I always like somewhere to hang my hose, to hang some other stuff. And also I'm going to make some type of bracket system, and I'm going to hang my my bee, they're not hives. I don't want to say hives because I don't want beehives. It's my native bee things. But let me show you kind of how I have it drawn out, and maybe you'll understand. And maybe I'll show you a little bit of me cutting it. I'm not real sure I'm going to cut these just yet. But I do believe I got most of the nails out. Oh, and when you're working with pallets, please look for the HT. Look for the heat treat. That means it's no chemicals, like I said before. And also, even if you think you got all of those nails out, this wood could have been repurposed. There can still be nails down in there. They cut the heads off you don't see. Now, if you're using a circular saw, chop saw, table saw, something like that, them blades are spinning and they will go through a nail. It's not the best for your saw blades, but, well, I'm hearing something. But I have blades that I use anytime I'm cutting pallet wood, because I'm probably going to hit a nail. It's just going to happen. But if you're using a handsaw, trying to, you know, if you don't have power tools, I really should have got a tripod. I can't hold this, my arm's hurting. If you're doing it with a handsaw because you don't have power tools and you hit a nail, more than likely you are not going to saw through that nail, and you're going to really mess up the teeth in your saw. Just a couple things. And like I said, safety first, you know, glasses, gloves, all that stuff. So I'll spin you around and show you my markings that I have. And, you know, let's see what happens. I don't know. Okay, so here we go. Like I said, I started cutting them off on this 4x4. See how they're in there? And those were pretty big nails. And then it turns out that the 2x4s were coming off really nice. So this is the only one that I kind of screwed it up and left the nail heads in. But it's going to be okay. So what I'm going to do, I divided this in half. It should be 1 3/4 because it's 3.5 by 3.5 by 3.5. But it is pallet wood, so it's not completely square. But what I did was I kind of split it in half, put me a line. I got a line going down there. And see all my X's? All this is going to go away. And if you're a woodworker or know anything, you're going, duh. But in case you're not, if you're just looking at building something. So all this is going to go, and I'll do the exact same thing on one of the half pieces I have, and then I will lay them together, and I'll put 4 or 6 bolts through there. I'll bolt it up all nice and tight. I'll probably get a chisel, clean everything out, and try to get it as flush as possible, and then that will get our final height. So I'm gonna think of what saw I'm gonna use here. And remember, if you're nervous to get a handsaw, always cut on your waist side, because you can get yourself a chisel. You can always clean it up. You don't want to go onto the good sides, because kind of no coming back from that. So I'm going to get some stuff set up, and I'm going to get an idea of how exactly do I want to cut this. I want to try to get it into my table saw, my chop saw, or just get out the good old circular saw.